welcome. I have pulled out my Magical Mystery Bead Box for January from Jesse James Beads. This was the book club one that has all the amazing little containers that go with books, along with these gorgeous little book lockets. I've got these all pulled out and was just playing around, and I think I've come up with something. I decided to pop the camera on and show you what I am making. So I pulled out the Frankenstein book, which is one of the books I haven't read. Oh, and if you want to see that whole reveal of that box, I'll put a link up here. But anyway, one of the two books I haven't read in this is Frankenstein, but for some reason I was drawn to the browns of it, I guess, along with its little container of beads and things. So I think I want to make something. So what I've got is this large tube bead, like a cylinder. It's a very large hold, and I realized I could put chain, at least one length or one string of chain, maybe two. I'm pretty sure I can get two through there. And I'm going to make a pretty simple necklace with that. So we're going to get to it. First thing, I think I'm going to talk y'all through this voiceover because there may be some fiddling that will take a little bit longer. So let's go. The first thing I did was took some of my brass chain and slid it through that barrel bead and kind of figured out about where I wanted that Frankenstein locket to hang from. So I'm going to clip that chain just using some wire cutters and use a jump ring to connect either end of the chain. Now once that's connected, both the jump ring and the loop on the locket hang in this, or situated in the same direction, so I'll have to use another jump ring to connect the two so that will lie flat on your chest or on the wearer's chest. So I've got that little bit, and that the chain going through there will move, and it's kind of long, and if you want it shorter, go for it shorter. I just kind of eyeballed pretty much all of this just to show y'all how easy this is to pull together. So I have that jump ring that connects the Frankenstein locket to the chain. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to use some of those teardrops maybe on that chain, but I changed my mind. And I am getting another length of chain and inserting it through that large hold barrel bead, and that worked perfectly. And again, eyeballing the length I wanted. I probably, on both of those lengths of chain, could have gone shorter for both of them, but I wanted to give myself a little bit of leeway. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put all of these brown and black, I think there's some kind of stone bead, onto eye pins. So eye pins are the ones with the holes on the end, and that makes them great for making links together. So one of them, I'm going to go ahead and open that eye by twisting it open and connecting it to the end of one of those pieces of chain. And I realize it's going to slide through, but that's okay. Once I put the bead on, it will not matter. So I've got that bead on there. I'm going to bend it right above the bead at a 90-degree angle and trim that down to about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to make a simple loop using my round nose pliers and just rolling that little bit, that tail that we have on there, rolling it up to make a loop. And then I will insert the chain back through that larger bead, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Open that eye pin, slip it on the end of the chain, close the eye pin, put the bead on, bend my eye pin at a 90-degree angle, trim it down, and then make a simple loop. I'll put a link in the upper right to a tutorial on how to make simple loops. I'm going to make a bunch of simple loops in this video, so hopefully you'll get an idea, but if you need a better idea, I'll have a link up there. All right, so with those beads on, you see that kind of stops the chain from sliding through, and I'm going to go ahead and add make my other eye pins into links, basically. So I like to work in batches like this. It's a lot easier to have just one tool in my hand, so I've bent all of those eye pins down, and then I am trimming all of that off, leaving, like I said, about 1/4 of an inch or so. I kind of just use my finger to measure it. And then I will make the simple loops using my round nose pliers. Again, I like the batches because then I'm not having to switch between tools
I have one tool in my hand and I just do that. And it also, once you get in the rhythm of it, you tend to make like all the loops the same size or cut it all about the same size. There's not a break between it where you forget, oh gosh, how long did I cut that, or how big of a loop did I make? So this is just the way I like to do it. So once all those are connected, I'm going to pull out some not eye pins. We just use the eye pins. I'm going to pull out some head pins. Oh, and I'm also making sure my loops kind of face in the same, direction so that when I add jump rings, it all lays a little bit flatter. So here are my head pins, which have like a nail head on the end. And I am putting those teardrops on the eye pins with the fat side down, and then doing the same thing, bending those right above the top of the bead, and then coming in, working in matches, trimming them all down about the same size. That way they all hang about the same length. So I'm trimming all those down, and then I'll bring in my round nose pliers again and make loops on every one of them, just like this, rolling up those tails to make a loop and making sure they are closed. You can see I do bring in my chain nose pliers every now and then just to make sure that these are situated straight. And that's all that is. So once I get these all rolled up, I will break out my little container that's got jump rings in it. I'm going to pull out a bunch of them, and that is what I'm going to use to connect all of these little elements together. So I will slip a jump ring on to the bead that's already on the necklace, and I'm going to switch hands here so that I can add one of those drops and then another one of those brown beads, and then close that jump ring. And I'm going to do that again. And I'm looking at it, making sure everything's hanging right. So I'll do that again, put a jump ring on, switch hands, slide a dangle, and then put a bead on, and then close it. And then I'm going to work on the other side and do the exact same thing. So I didn't cut any of this out because I wanted you to see the whole process of how quick this comes together. And again, you see I have to switch hands to go through it because I want to make sure those dangles end up between both of those beads, and it's just a matter, if I'm holding it that direction, it's going to work. And there, see, and see that one wasn't closed very good, so I'm going to close it, make sure that loop is just right, and then I've got to start over again because I had to put everything down. All right, so I'm going to close that. Now for the chain, I measured it out, and I'm cutting it down right here. And so I have one long length of chain, and what I'll do is I'll take one of those head pins or eye pins and insert both ends of that chain in there and find the center. Once I find the center, I will clip that link of chain to make this 2 different pieces of chain. If there's not a center, you may have to clip 2 pieces or 2 links of chain. So I'll grab another jump ring, insert that into that loop in the bead, and then onto the chain, and then close that jump ring. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Put the jump ring on the bead, and I'm making sure everything's hanging right before I get everything all twisted and wonky, because I want those dangles to be hanging down. And then I will put that chain on there and close that. And the last thing this needs is a clasp. So I'm going to pull out, I've got 2 jump rings and a clasp. So I'll use one of the jump rings on one end of the chain to attach the clasp, and then the other side will just have a jump ring as the closure. And that is it, y'all. I think this necklace is super cute. It's absolutely a unique design for me. I thought it was a great way to utilize those large whole beads and get them to be kind of the star of the show, just as well as that pendant. All right, if you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to ask. I want to thank Jesse James Beads for sending me these gorgeous beads. I love the book theme so much. I encourage you to check them out. And if you like this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.